Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Outcast, the one I'd be waiting for. And this is gonna be the last review I do for Outcast. It's not inherently terribly bad, but I don't recommend really watching it. Because these last couple episodes, at least this first, it takes too much focus and puts it on the B storyline. We get a lot of time with Megan. Now, I don't mind that we are focusing on someone that's been through possession. I think they're just devoting entirely too much time to it and letting the more interesting aspects, such as the demon possessions, their plans, be thrown along the wayside. Because I don't know what more it's really adding to her character. I think my complete issue with it is you're showing me a lot, but it's not giving me a lot. I'm like, okay, her daughter thinks that she killed her father and that it was premeditated and everything, which she is not completely wrong in how it looks, okay? And it's really just jarring because towards a certain point in the episode, she finally accepts that there is a monster inside of her that made her commit this. Even Megan herself has doubts, but she's been more accepting that it's been more of an accident for killing of Mark. I just think that it's taking up entirely too much time. It feels like half of these episodes now are devoted to Megan, and I know that this could be a slow burn thing to something for a payoff, but it's coming at the narrative expense of other things going on that should be good and just aren't giving the fleshed out time they need. So, one of the big things that was going on in this episode was Patricia and her son. And what I really liked in the beginning was how subtle it was explaining what Patricia had been going through. She has been making food every night for her son in case he comes home. And we see this as she's like staring at this food. She tosses out. We've seen other tossed out sandwiches and Cheetos. And she makes a new sandwich, setting it up before she goes to bed. And that's great. That's powerful. But we then get to she's asleep and she finally hears it. And he's bitching about saying that he tells her to get Fritos instead of Cheetos. And she's trying her damnedest to actually get through to him. But he's such a one-dimensional little shit that it just... He couldn't be more... God, it's like a mustache-twirling villain if there were an angsty asshole teen, and that makes it almost 10 times worse. It's like, meow, I am a villain, see, meow, meow. I'm irredeemable, see, meow, meow. And it's even worse when it's a teenager. I'm like, dude, there's like 10 different people in this town that could kick your ass. Stop it. So, she's pretty much trying to figure out what's going on, and he, of course, is trying to turn her against Reverend Anderson, and he didn't intentionally try to set him on fire. He was the one at Sydney's. And it's like, okay. And she's trying to figure out what's going on. He, of course, is... I don't know. It's so one-dimensional. He just wants to be a bad guy to be a bad guy. I mean, we're given certain things like, oh, I guess I take after Dad because I can absorb all this shit and everything, but she's trying to be like, you can be a good person. I see that you can be a good person, and I've seen nothing to that. Okay? I understand parents' love, but dude's been a douche and an asshole since day one. I do not fucking see it. He graffitis the town. He destroys shit. He acts like an asshole. I swear to God, you could show an in-between scene of him punting a kitten or a puppy just to show how much of an evil douche he is. So while that's going on, we see that we learn some bits and pieces about what was going on. We learn that the woman who was buried was named Helen, and that she was the one that came with instructions last time, 30 years ago, for those who had turned. And he was saying about like how Kyle thought that his dad had abandoned him and his mom. And, of course, Bob's like, that could have been better that way. Of course, this is when Reverend Anderson gets a call from Patricia. He answers it, but it's Aaron pretty much threatening her and everything. And that's, of course, when Kyle and Reverend Anderson go off, and they go there, and he pretty much killed his mother, but led her on the edge of death and painted a pentagram in her blood on the wall. And Reverend Anderson's trying to tell her to hold on, stay with him, but she says no because she thinks that Reverend Anderson intentionally lit Aaron on fire, which at this point I don't think anybody on the show would have had much of a problem with. Well, so of course they get everybody showing up. We cut over to Megan, and let me just squish this down. She's dealing with all the stuff of the possession. She's sitting there pretty much spacing out. Holly's like, are we going to go home or whatnot? And she's like, go get a sundae. And she goes up to get one, but they cleaned out the ice cream machine. We see that the one kid she had interacted with while she was in her possessed fugue state. And that's about that. It was about useless. So instead they go to a motel, tell her to watch the Disney Channel. She goes to sleep, wakes back up, and Holly is trying to get change off of a dude for something. She's going, why are you talking to strangers? What's going on? The dude's like, dude, you gotta like watch out for her. She's saying that you're like a killer or whatnot. And I'm going, what does this do? I don't have much against Holly's actress. They are not giving her much. She goes essentially between, I hate my mom because she killed my dad, to at the end they decide to go to Megan's parents' house, and only her mom's there, setting them up and everything, and because the mom's religious and everything, she essentially just flips a switch, says, there's a monster inside of you, and I'm going to pray that the monster never comes back and everything. And if we pray hard enough, it'll do everything. It was the weirdest kind of 180, not really well executed at all, and just not very well handled, in my opinion. There could have been some nuance with it, which we then have another kind of thing where Megan starts unloading on the mom because they fostered kids, and she felt that they loved the foster kids more than her. And I'm like, why is this important? I'm watching all the Megan stuff, and the biggest parts in my mind are, why does this need to occur? I'm like, I'm not spacing out, but I'm just bored. I'm like, I don't see where this payoff's coming. Now, granted, I don't need a big sign saying, this is the payoff. Exit 5 episodes. I don't need that. But I need to see some inherent value, because all I'm seeing is a kid doing like 180s and Megan not being able to handle anything. Granted, what she went through is terrible, but I'm like, okay, I could just get a couple check-ins where we get some movement for it, because right now she's still just kind of slowly accepting it, understanding it's an accident, understanding she was possessed, but I'm like, meh. That's about her stuff, which then has dug into time about Aaron being a douche, so kind of 50-50 there. We get that, let's see here. Reverend Anderson put up that he would have used himself as bait to try and catch Aaron because he knows that this is Aaron. This isn't a demon inside of him. Giles brings that up at one point, but he's like, no, this little fucking shithead did it himself. I'm like, yep. I even think a demon would have been like, no, why the fuck would I do that? Which is kind of like, yeah. Yeah, because most of them are like, we don't want anybody to know we're here. Woo! So why is a half-burnt kid running around doing this stuff? Liability, as we see Sidney dealing with his own inside mole person in the police station, also getting the information that Giles is trying to round people up, but of course Kyle let her go to give the message, and Sidney's like, bullcrap. So he goes off on his own thing to get the mayor to try and rein in Giles, but of course he heard about Patricia and didn't like that. It was a weird scene because I liked what it was trying to do, but I don't think we got much of a resolution because Sydney's going, this police officer is screwing us, and I will put someone else in charge of being the mayor if you're not going to play ball. Then he's going, well, you don't have as much control of your people as you think because Aaron killed a friend of mine, so what have it? And Sydney kind of comes to a compromise of being like, well, I have this officer in the police station. If, oh, I don't know, you could just fire Giles and put her in charge instead. It'll run smoothly for everybody. It's like, okay, going off. We get more stuff with Aaron. I really like this one scene because essentially he called out Aaron being like, yeah, we'll be where your first, like, the scene of one of your crimes. He goes back and breaks into the frickin' church. He's getting ready to pretty much shank the little fucker, which I don't blame him because he is such a non-character at this point, more like an antagonistic force. And I'm like, okay. But I liked how it did have an effect of Kyle talking with him, being like, we can't get into the ends justify the means. I'm not becoming my father. I'm doing this because I'm a husband and a father, and that's why I'm doing this. And I'm, okay, we'll do that. And of course, little shithead McGee tries to firebomb him. They're able to get out, and I liked Giles' reaction to it because he's like, he gets into this story about like how people didn't like when him and his wife came to the town, that he would buy a lot of paint because people would put stuff on his garage, and that Reverend Anderson called out those motherfuckers, and he's pissed off. He's like, I don't like being lied to. I don't like being not trusted. And he's like, listen, I'm not going to use my friends as bait. And he's like, I got a short supply of friends, and I can't spare to lose you. And I really liked how the actor did that. He went through all this kind of stuff, like exasperation, pissed off, and then just that, like, restrained pissed offness to be like, you're my friend, and I would beat some sense into you if you, It's like, listen, I care about you. Stop acting like a fucking dipshit and doing this. So I really like that part. We did get some good things going on. And he's like, listen, I don't want to lose you because I can beat you at poker. And then, of course, we get to Kyle going out, talking to Bob, getting just a little bit more information that Kyle's father had a safe house, and gives him the information so that way he can go off. He's like, why didn't you tell me about this stuff? He's like, I like my head in the sand. I like just with my own thoughts and everything. I don't like to be around people kind of thing. Okay. Works enough. But Kyle goes off, gets into the RV and, well, the trailer, and he's seeing all this stuff about demons and everything, how kind of almost supernatural, like where they got the wall, they're trying to get information on everything. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And you see he's only one picture of his mom and him. He finds Helen's belongings and like, okay, he was really obsessed and everything. He goes in and he sees this door covered in blood, breaks into it and sees that this is where they had tortured and interrogated Helen. Seeing blood and hair and all that kind of stuff along the room. He's like, this is kind of screwed up. Goes outside. At this point, Reverend Anderson had been egged on by Aaron, and he leaves the police station. Giles calls Kyle to see if they're together. He's like, no. And then we get the dude pretty much there at Sydney's burnt out trailer, and he's like, I'm going to burn you alive, and I've got a gun so that way I can force you to do it. I'm like, oh, you can be a good shot, but here's the thing. You're going to be shooting to wound so that way you could still light him on fire. The dude can sit on you. I mean, Anderson's not the best physical condition, but he saved someone when they were trying to drown themselves, and I think he can get up fast enough on your punk ass and sit on your burnt face. But Reverend Anderson starts putting the gasoline on. He's getting ready to try and light him on fire, but that's when Kyle shows up. Reverend Anderson's able to dodge out of the fire fast enough that he's not lit. And I'm like, that was really close. Kyle tries to chase him, and he chases him through the woods. Sydney's able to pick him up, and he's got this shit-eating grin, and I'm like, Sydney, if there's anybody that you can kill, right there. It's not really adding anything to the story. I'm like, he's a little asshole. There's barely anything there for him. I don't hate the actor. He's just not given much for him. He's so one-dimensional. He's like, I'm an asshole and just because I want to be. Okay. You don't really have any skills to defend that. You're not an assassin. You're not a prodigy with any form of physical attacks. So, take him out. Lock him up. I don't care. And it was just really weird because Megan's stuff and this with Aaron just really took so much time away from other things that could have been expounded upon and really moving forward the main plot where it's like, I don't care. So, those are my thoughts and opinions on this episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.